It's got that bad. That's all you're going to get for the next half an hour.
Lovely.
I know! You must think yourself being treated to a treat.
Not quite.
I tried, come on. Hello, and welcome again to Maybe Movies, episode 30 of Maybe Movies.
Oh, gosh.
We are rapidly approaching middle age.
Practically actual adults.
No, that's
No.
30 years ago, probably, but now, no. And we are on week 4 of our April shows, and on to the last part of Snake Death, which I think I may have found a way of possibly including it in the story, in a very minor way.
Oh, that's the title of our movie. We're going to get it in there? Or...
I think so.
Okay.
We'll come to that.
We'll see. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Thank you very much to everyone who's left us comments on last week's episode to do with the poll and the possibility of going down going up, should I say, to 2 shows a week. Still haven't made any decision on that because of how we shoot this. So we're actually shooting this on the same day as last week's episode went out. So we'll probably come back to you and let you know what we've decided about that at the start of next month's shows. Still going to be here next month. Help us. Before we jump back into this again, very quickly, just one shout out this week. And that's to our old friend Steve, or otherwise known as the Red Hot Bear from Red Hot Reactions. Just wanted to say really, really, really well done, mate, about getting 250 subscribers.
Congrats.
Really keep up the good work, and hopefully at some point we'll actually get to meet.
That would be good.
And with that out of the way... Oh!
Oh.
The Drink at 100 bottle is back.
Oh. Oh, yes, it is.
Does that mean we're getting close?
Don't know.
What is 100?
Why is anything?
That's far too...
Who is the cheese?
Who is the cheese?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Is it the morning cheese or the after dark cheese?
Oh, it's the after dark cheese. Yes.
That's the one that comes with his friend Port.
Oh, Lord. I've had that for quite some time.
Right, yes. So yeah, we're not gonna hang around. We're gonna jump straight back in.
Indeed, we are.
With the start of Act 2, which I believe is it's immediately after he's brushed off the state cops.
I have it as Lou's "Let me be the guy" speech.
Yes, that's what I've got as well. Oh yeah, actually, just very quickly, just briefly touching back on the end of the last act, the whole thing about jurisdiction and that with the state cops.
Yeah.
Part of their jurisdiction is that they came in is because it's involving the casino, but because the assassination attempt doesn't take place in the casino...
It took place in the stadium.
Yeah, that's why they don't have jurisdiction.
That's right.
But yeah, it's just another thing that we can keep from the original in there as well.
Of course, yeah.
I've got actually that as my kind of first scene. This is a bit different because so much of this kind of runs on lines.
Oh, to a certain degree, but yes, I wanted to focus on this because this again is one of those moments where the difference between McCord and Rick are going to become really obvious. Because in the original version of this, Lou literally bribes Rick into letting him be that guy.
Whereas here...
Yes. Would McCord... I mean, we know he's got a relationship with McCord because we talked about that last week. We didn't want to establish that. So we know he's got a relationship with him and it must be reasonably cordial. Mm-hmm. Mainly because he's just a nice guy.
From my point of view, how I kind of looked at it with the earlier meeting at the start of the film, I still liked the idea that he's not condescending exactly, but he's a little, well, maybe slightly condescending to McCord because he's a functionary.
Maybe like trying to assert his territorial authority. Like I'm the guy here on the ground.
Ooh. Well, what I was actually going to say was we see this kind of not disdain, but very slight dismissiveness he has of McCord at the start of the film.
Yeah.
But now he wants something from him.
Oh, yes. Well, this is what I mean. It comes to... Because, he's going to try and bribe him in some fashion. So, what would he try to bribe him with? And how do we think McCord would respond to that? Because he's not Rick. There's a part of me that wants to say he might be offended by being offered a bribe.
Ooh. Well, how about this then? Rather than offering him a actual bribe, Lou will try and sell himself more, because you've got your hands full trying to keep everyone contained. You know, you're going to want to be keeping the press out of here. I'm the guy.
I'm your guy. So it's still the I'm your guy speech, but it's a different angle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, gold star. Yeah. I'm your guy. I'll take care of that.
Yeah. You can keep all the rest of the press out because you've got somebody here. You've got that covered. We would still have to have that bit where he says, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's your money back because we need the blood money for later."
Oh right, yeah.
The $100 because you get the $100 that Cyrus gets his blood on.
Yeah,
because he gives it back to Lou, and then Lou gives it back to him later in the film.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Of course, yes. Well, this is the thing. The thing about that is the blood money is symbolic of Rick's nature, and this isn't Rick.
Obviously, it's there to remind us at that stage of the film that it exists as ahead of the reveal.
It's nice. I didn't think about it that way. Symbolically, look at it. There's like this big roll of money, and mostly it's clean, but there's a bit of it that's really bloody.
Yeah,
and that's Rick. He's mostly clean.
I have another one.
I just literally realised that right now. That's what it's so emblematic of. So it doesn't that theme doesn't quite flow with McCord unless the symbol is the blood money of the interaction of what's being done, the transaction of people taking advantage of this, because it's all about people taking advantage of the situation, isn't it?
I think we need to keep it in the film because I think the reveal when it drops out later, because no doubt when we get to that point, Kevin Dunn is going to offer him something, and therefore again its symbolism is still valid within that context. And it's a nice thing to keep in the film.
Okay, well then in that case, let it be.
But again, it's just something we don't have to play up. We've seen it at the start. We've seen him we've seen McCord pocket the money.
Yeah.
When he arrested Cyrus. That bit.
No, we didn't. We saw McCord give it to charity.
Well, I was going to say just very quickly. Sorry, guys. Rewinding to last week. I know we don't normally do this.
Right.
But yes, the big roll of money that he takes off Cyrus, he puts in the charity box.
Yeah.
But probably doesn't want to put that in the charity box because it's covered in blood.
Okay.
So just sticks it in his pocket.
Okay, yes. Yep, that's fine. I agree, yes. He probably intends to put it somewhere else later, but it's there in his pocket, symbolically later.
Yeah.
I get your meaning. Yes, okay, I follow.
Do you think he's going to ask him for another shirt? Or actually, I was going to change it. If Lou's, again, trying to sell himself and say, well, look, we may need to talk to you, but you can't, we can't have you on TV like that because he's got the Secretary of Defence's blood on his shirt.
Of course, yes.
On his uniform. So, gets him a clean shirt?
Yeah.
It's just that Ricky makes such a big thing about it, and then the next time we see him, he's got...
Oh, right, yeah, because Ricky cares how he looks.
Yeah. Whereas McCord doesn't, but obviously...
Lou would say we can't have... Yeah, okay, I got you.
The other thing that we didn't discuss last week, are we saying in this version then that McCord and Tyler both went to the same school in the same way that Ricky and Tyler did?
Obviously, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The next one that again, a lot of these are just little points that I thought, how are we going to get around that? The other one, the next one that I've got is when he goes to see Tyler, which is pretty much the next thing that happens, and gets stopped by the bodyguards, and obviously Ricky can go, get out of the way, I'm a cop.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, get out of the way, I'm security, or do we want to throw something else in here?
Yes, it would be, I'm sorry, I'm the head of security, I need to, you probably have a bit of not a fight, but an altercation between the bodyguards, because they're like, oh yeah, we're security too. Yeah. But in this case, Van Damme's size will be enough probably to be like, no, you don't want to do this with me, fellas. Because
that actually, even just thinking about it now, that would feed in quite nicely with this idea that he's now got a nice clean shirt. He's not in his security uniform.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah. Oh, of course, yes. So that would give the security excuse to go, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Because they won't instantly know that he's security.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
The next bit, I mean, most of this bit here kind of runs through it as it does. So he goes in, he finds, he gets the story from Tyler. I mean, did you have anything to say about that sort of interaction?
Well, the story itself isn't going to change because it's all in the back. It's all in the background. It's in the past.
Oh, and yes, I did go back and look, and yes, you are right.
Oh, what about the
seahorse mannequins?
They're bizarre.
I was like,
that. I would say so. It would be so 80s, but it's not. It's so 90s, isn't it? But it's just so Hollywood.
Can we have one? Just to put at the back there, please.
You got a friend out there somewhere? Maybe? No, you're right. Actually, I think it's going to more or less play the same. McCord's softer character. He'll play the story differently, but I think he'll get it out of Tyler all the same.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll be a threat. I think it'll be an appeal to morality, a guilt trip, maybe, of some sort.
And again, this is one of the points where this paragon within this seedy world is gonna do him some good.
Yeah.
Because he's going to, that might appeal to Tyler's better nature.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think with the way that McCord is, there would be, a little bit of guilt in appealing to the better nature.
I like it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because he's a very earnest man. If you look at his interactions in Sudden Death, he is forthright and earnest. And that honesty can work with some people, especially if they've got a history.
And again, in this situation, Tyler's done, he knows he's done wrong.
I mean, I look at you, man. You're the best of us. You've gone so far. It would be both an appeal to his better nature and a guilt trip at the same time. Would probably be something like that, rather than an outright threat. Which
did also make me think, because obviously before this he goes straight up and checks the fight footage, which did make me think: do we possibly almost derail it? We don't have to, but do we almost derail it because he knows the building so much better than Ricky does?
Mm-hmm.
Would he know about the magic eye? And would he think to check it? Or are we just going to say, so much going on?
He might notice the blimp.
Mm-hmm.
The question is whether he'll think to consider that the blimp's view might be important at this point in time. And it did cross my mind, would he think to check all of the cameras? And I'll be honest, I don't have a concrete answer. This is something we need to discuss.
I think we let it play out under the auspices of that he's under a lot of pressure and he's not got a lot of time. He goes specifically to the box on that occasion because he wants to look at the fight shot. So I think that's all he's interested in at the moment.
That box is the camera that's attached to Lou's station.
Yes.
Whereas the security guard's box, that's the casino.
That's the casino, which is a different area.
Different area.
Yeah.
So yes, he's going to look at that box. Whether or not he would think to look at the blimp first,
I don't think he will, because as I remember, he literally goes up there because he wants to get a better angle on the knockout punch. So he's got the leverage to go and speak to Tyler.
Yes, because he only thinks of the blimp when he's looking around to find other views of other stuff.
Yes.
They even consider it. You're right. Yes. He doesn't have the impetus to consider it yet.
I've got this lead, I'm following this one, and then we'll come back to everything else later.
You're right, yeah, absolutely. Tyler's story going to play out, and that's a huge chunk.
It is a huge chunk. Interspersed with that, we've got the stuff with Julia going into the ladies' room to get changed, following her through into the casino. I did also think, as a general thing, because there are a lot of cops around in the stadium, could we possibly ramp up the severity of the storm earlier so the cops cannot get to the stadium, the storm's too bad, which then puts the burden of responsibility of covering everything simply on the security.
As long as we can also conspire to have the storm alleviate at the end to allow the cops to arrive necessarily.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't mind that. That's nice. It's a great way of bottling everyone in.
And it also, again, it keeps the burden of responsibility on McCord, as opposed to the cops turn up and then another homicide detective turns up and takes charge.
Those cops, and if we're not careful, that ring of authority could expand outwards.
And then McCord loses his position of
out of our control here. Yeah. So let's bottle this story. Yes, I agree. Yes.
I have I think it's pronounced Caminera, which is apparently the indigenous grape of Chile.
What? Can you show me the label? Caminera. I've never seen one of those.
It's very nice.
Casero del Diablo, though.
Yeah.
Good make.
I've got the next bit really is the chat between Dunn and McCord in the conference room. 5 people.
Kevin's story.
Kevin's story and
Kevin and Rick's theory of the conspiracy.
Yes.
So obviously, McCord's going to come to a similar conclusion. He might not use the word conspiracy, but there's more going on here.
Yes, than
Than
first
you
thought.
might have.
When it comes to discussing the oddly enough, the Norfolk test and the was it the Renville incident and stuff like that is classified stuff. He divulges it to Rick because he is the officer in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to spin it this time that he discusses it off the books because it's his friend?
No, you see, I'm going to go, hang on a minute, I do not agree.
Okay.
My reading on the original film was that he told Rick because you're my friend. I could be fired if I'm sure he says I could be fired for telling you this. But again, it's an appeal to his friendship. Maybe I'm misremembering it. I've only watched the movie a couple of times, but I'm sure that was Kevin's response was, I could be fired for telling you this, but this is the deal. I
only remember Rick saying to him at some point, I know it's confidential, but...
And it's the but. Why would there be a but if it wasn't over friendship?
Yeah, no, I'll go with that. I will go with that. What I did think about this at the tail end of this scene, which is when they go back into the arena, that's when McCord will say, I'm going to go off and check the casino. I'm going to go and speak to his mate in the casino.
That's right. That's because he's looking for the girl at this point.
I did think because he is security and because we know of McCord's character from the original film, he may think, well, they must still be here somewhere. Maybe I should go and check behind the scenes. Which is obviously where they are, and then Dunn has to stop him or talk him out of it, or he has to then suggest to him, I'll look out for them, you go and check the casino.
Kevin goes away, deals with the redhead, and here comes the paying guy. Mm-hmm. And then it immediately goes to the cameras on the casino.
That's what I'm saying. Just before that, so they've had the conference they've had the meeting in the conference room. Mm-hmm. They've come back out into the arena.
Yes.
Before he goes to see his guy in the casino.
Yeah.
Because McCord thinks, well, there's loads of back areas behind the scenes that they could be hiding. I should go and check there because I know the building. Dunn doesn't want him to because that's where his accomplices are.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
So I'm saying that rather than him saying, I'm going to go and do that, you go and do this, he has to kind of very quickly, Dunn has to talk his way around to actually, I'll go look for them, you keep going looking for the girl.
I don't understand the problem because they went their separate ways in the first story. Why wouldn't they?
Partly because it offers the possibility that if he goes around the back, then we could end up with a fight in the back, behind the scenes if he finds them. I just like that idea. Just trying to... Maybe I'm trying to pull too much of sudden death into this one.
You absolutely are. You absolutely are, because you're basically breaking the story, because once you have that fight, we're now in Act 3. It'll drastically cut down the runtime.
It would do, but we don't want to do that, because we're enjoying the film.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm fishing.
You are fishing there with quite a long line.
I will take this moment to highlight what I think is one of the... As we were talking about symbolism earlier... Mm. Wonderful moment of symbolism which happens immediately after this, which is when Kevin goes into the back area to meet his accomplices. Mm-hmm. He comes out of the stadium, it's all brightly lit, and he's just stood at the top of that staircase?
Boo!
At the top of the staircase, illuminated by that red light, and it's the reveal of him being the villain, and then the staircase descending down into...
Yeah.
And I just loved that. I just thought, Brian de Palma, spot on.
It's the descent into hell, isn't it? It's the stop, go no further, here there be dragons kind of moment.
Exactly, yeah.
Which
most of the rest, I think, at this point, kind of
runs on rails, because he's going to look at the cameras, he's going to find the girl.
Mm-hmm. That was the bit that I thought that we could include Snake Death, is when he says, they're at the machine, they're playing Lucky Number 7. Rather than playing Lucky Number 7, they're playing Snake Death.
Yes, why not? Yes, you can have a silver star for that.
Oh, thank you. Silver's so much less gaudy than gold. But thank you.
Which kind of leads us to the end of that, because there's a lot goes on here, but it's all mostly on rails.
Do you think he'd give the guy in the room maybe a roundhouse when he comes to rescue Julia?
Oh, yeah, probably. Just a little nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm head of security, mate.
Yeah.
But, which takes us to the I don't want to do this moment. Which, again, is going to play out slightly differently, because it's still that friendship, it's that childhood friendship, but is the McCord's moral centre. He doesn't want to do it, but he knows he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rick is like, no, I really don't want to do this, and I'm trying to find a reason not to.
And again, as you said, because he's the good man in this situation, he recognises a kindred spirit in her.
I don't imagine him being more broken than Rick because of this. Because he is such a moral person, he feels the guilt of betraying his friendship, as well as knowing that he has to do the right thing.
Yeah. Because he thought, like him, he's like, Kevin's the only other bloke that he knows that can't be bought.
Yeah.
And he has been.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I feel there's actually, not necessarily more, but something different that we can really pull on and fill out that moment. And it's not just a carbon copy of what's come before.
No, I like that a lot. It's also a lovely... It heightens the bonding moment, I suppose, between him and Julia as well, because she
because he's having to confess all of this to her as well.
Yeah. And she can empathise with his pain as the two kind of squeaky clean characters in our new film.
Yes, yeah.
So again, as I say, it heightens that bond between them, and she will also empathise with his pain a lot more.
Yes, she will.
And his betrayal. That's the main thing. So
the betrayal of it.
Cool. So again, very quickly, that brings us to the end of Act 2.
It does indeed. It's a bit smushy. We didn't have specific scenes, but that's because of the nature of the structure of this baby. So much of it is flashback and stories and interludes.
Yeah. So we are into Act 3 of Snake Death.
Oh gosh, yes, I think we are.
So we've discussed what happens on the stairs.
Yes.
We then get the scene with Powell and Dunn saying, look...
The plan.
Yes, the plan. Are we still happy then that McCord is going to spirit her away somewhere?
There's a part of me that thinks, because he's such a paragon, that he might take her to Lou. But he knows the place is full of Secret Service agents being ordered around by Kevin.
He kind of has an idea of the kind of person that Lou is.
Sorry, not Kevin, because he doesn't know it's Kevin at this point.
I know
he knows it is Kevin, but he doesn't know it's Kevin at this point. He doesn't have proof. But yeah, no. Would you want to hide, or would you want to...
I suppose it's about how much he trusts. Would you say that he has more trust in his security staff?
I almost think that he would decide to take her to Lou so that they could broadcast. But he'd start to take her and they'd bump into one of the other Secret Service guys.
Oh, I see.
And they would be like,
I don't know how far this goes. I better put you somewhere out of the way.
Yeah, and have to take her away and hide her somewhere.
The other place that is just from us discussing it here, that he could put her is with his mate who's running the cameras in the casino.
I wondered if that's what you were thinking when you said there's another option.
Safe place, other people around. They're people who work.
Room full of people who know him.
Yeah.
I feel inclined that he'd want to do that. He wouldn't want to hide her in the darkness. He'd want to bring her into the light.
Yeah,
as it were. I know I'm going a bit thematic and symbolic here, but big bright room full of cameras and people that he knows and trusts who also spend all their time looking at suspicious people.
Oh, talking about symbolism. Oh, 2 gold stars.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hiding him in the gods. Or hiding her, in the gods.
Oh.
Where all the cameras are looking over the world. Yeah, beautiful.
And I'll be honest, I don't think... as a play, Kevin wouldn't think to look there. That'd be the last place on Earth they'd think to look for their suspect, is in the middle of the security room.
Yeah, it's
actually really gorgeously clever.
I love it, but I also love it because in juxtaposition with something else I made a note of, and yes, you can play symbolism drinking game on this episode if you want to, for every time we mention it. Well, I do. Anyway. But it's when they are talking about doing another outside shoot and you see the shot of outside the building and the globe has fallen off the building.
And it's sort of gently rolling in the street,
yes,
yeah.
It's shortly after, essentially, Ricky's world has fallen down around his ears because he's found out this about his friend.
Is that then?
When they first see it and they say, we should get somebody out there to shoot this.
That's right, yes. Yes, you're right, yes.
So that all happens around then. But, I love that. There's a nice dichotomy between the two. You've got The world has fallen, but he's hidden there in the gods.
Seriously, that's another theme in the original movie that we probably missed. His world fell, didn't it?
Yeah.
I personally hadn't made that. There's a lot going on in that movie.
A lot of this stuff I unconsciously saw it when the first time I saw it, but it wasn't until we were looking at it for this
Yeah.
that I got to properly sit down and look at it objectively and go, oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was going to say at this point as well, after he's put Julia into the security room, is he going to MacGyver something before he goes any further?
I want to say no. I want to say he's like Rick. He still holds that last shred of hope out for his friend.
Yes.
He's not quite at that point yet.
Fair enough. In which case then, the rest of this will play out as it does. He will go back into the arena. This is when he spots the roving eye.
Yep.
Goes to look at the footage and then gets confronted by Dunn.
I agree that all plays out the same, but there's one, because it's quite a long scene and there's quite a bit of speech, and I've sort of cut it down in chunks. And there's a simple bit that is labelled saving lives, which is part of Kevin's argument. I know it's a small thing, but again, talking about the difference between Rick and McCord. McCord is a fireman. I mean, his downfall was trying to save lives. And to have this man spit in his concept of morality by claiming that he's doing this to save lives would be such an affront to him.
That's another one. Yeah, Gold Star. I missed that. I missed how it would work differently.
It's not because I broke that. I don't normally break speeches down into individual chunks, but that one was such a long scene.
Oh no, definitely.
So I imagine, possibly McCord might become even a bit enraged at that point.
Do we? I wasn't too sure whether this may lead to. I suppose it won't. It can't lead to fisticuffs between them. I suppose he may, again, like Wiki does, he may make an attempt, but
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think essentially that comment is to McCord what "I never killed anyone" is to Rick. It's that moment when he crosses the line for him.
So how about this? Dunn is monologuing about all of the stuff. Mm-hmm. McCord is still trying to get his head around it. He leans back against the counter and puts his hand in his pockets.
Uh-huh.
As soon as Dunn says about that, I'm saving lives, as he moves forward, brings his hands out of his pockets, blood money falls on the floor.
Oh, no, it falls on the floor. Throw it at him. Throw it at him.
Yeah.
Take it. There's your money. That's what you need, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I like it. Like it a lot.
It's not just a singular moment for the protagonist. It is a moment for both the protagonist and the antagonist.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's been confronted with his own, as it were, villainy. Which is villainy, but, Noir, so morally great characters. But, yeah.
Fantastic. And then we get...
My third scene is the beatdown.
So is this going to be a proper fight then this time?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a proper fight. Now, the thing is, Van Damme is Van Damme, but we kept pointing out that the fighting style for his character is not kickboxing or any kind of martial arts. It's very fisticuffs, brutal thing.
Yeah.
This man is a trained boxer who's never been beaten. I think it's going to end the same way it does in the film, but he will defend himself.
Yes.
It's like the point of the scene in the original one is that Rick is refusing to respond because he's just kicking them in the face with their own bullying and their own hypocrisy and everything. That's why Tyler begs him to fight back, because it stops him from feeling guilty.
Yeah.
But McCord would fight because I can't allow this to happen. He's got the moral centre that says he has to fight back. He has to keep trying.
Like it. What I'd also throw into that as well then, because you've got the other two soldiers that are in on it.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees them fight back, maybe they just have a side bet between them.
It would call back to the whole Rick.
Yeah,
nice call. Yeah, nice call.
Pretty much after that,
things start to happen on rails at this point.
It does. The only difference is that instead of going to the bit at the top, he goes to the security room.
Yeah. but it's still the long walk, bloodied and beaten. You know, it's still somehow, with his moral centre, somehow still aware of the fact that his friend is bugged in.
So this is going to play out differently because the ending then is going to happen in a different place.
It is. It's going to have a different ending. It's not going to happen outside, which is, unfortunately, it means we've kind of cut Althea and her little side story. But unfortunately, this is where the story's taken us, so we have to roll with the punches, don't we?
We do.
So, you've had a thought. Yes, go on.
So he follows him up to the security room.
Mm-hmm.
Probably pulls a gun. So what about when he gets into the security room where Julia is, rather than her, as it does in the film, go outside, his mate, the head of the who's running the cameras, flicks the cameras that are probably in the security room so that it transmits those to all of the screens in the casino and in the arena. So he's seen by everybody in the arena.
Oh, that's even better. That really is the whole world is watching. That's not just one TV channel. It's like...
We've closed this world by saying the storm is worse, and now his entire world can see what he's doing.
Just to give a little tiny nod to Althea, we could also have a moment where, like, was it Lou who did the feed through to Althea's feed outside? He'd be like, and we're preparing to go outside to Althea, and he's halfway through it, and all the screens start going, and the camera turns and pans and starts broadcasting what's going on across the entire casino to the rest of the world. That's a nice touch. I like it.
Oh, that's
a real world watching moment. That's really lovely. I like it.
And he knows he's completely trapped now because there's no chance of escape because there's state cops everywhere, there's security everywhere. You're not getting out of this.
No.
And again, it would end the same way.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Oh my god.
Well,
that is so cool.
I like that. I like that quite a bit. Now, we still got a little ways to go because, of course, now this cannot play out the same way. There are a number of scenes still left. He is not corrupt. He hasn't done any of these things.
So, do we then end up with a happily ever after ending?
It's not very noir, but I'm struggling to think of an alternative.
So then, the twist in the story is that 2/3 of it, or 3/4 of it, are a noir story, but right at the last minute it flips it into a redemption story. Which is kind of what the original is anyway.
I think if we're going to have a redemption story, because we still have to sort of pay some homage to our noir here, I'm going to say that maybe it's a happy story, happy ending for McCord, in that this is a redemption. But I think that in terms of potential romance, that's probably a case of ships passing in the night. So maybe that's what that final scene is them parting agreeably.
Yes.
But accepting that they can't be together because it's just not appropriate, or they're different people or whatever.
I mean, I suppose we do still keep a certain amount of the noir as it does in the original film, because as far as we know, there's no comeback on Powell himself who runs the company. He just fires lots of people and gets away with it.
Well, maybe that's the happily ever after for McCord. Is him exposing Powell. If we're playing the opposite of what happened with Rick, it's a redemption story, so maybe that's the pinion of his redemption. I mean, he's the hero of the situation, but he finagles it into, well, look, this was a conspiracy, this man did this, and that's what elevates him into a true redemption story, becoming not just a hero of that moment, but a hero in general. But I just feel that if this is a noir film,
it needs to have a little down note,
a little minor note to finish off the chord.
So how about this? Because of this, just to tie up the redemption story completely. Oh no, it depends. Sorry, no, it may not matter. It make any difference. Yeah,
I was going to say we're at the end.
We're at the
There's
end.
a time to say it now.
Yeah.
It is.
Because in the original story, obviously Rick loses his wife as a result. Maybe their marriage, because of what had happened to him, they had to take the security job, wasn't great. Because he's done this and the exposure from this, him and his wife get back together. Therefore, there cannot be a romance between him and Julia because he's a straight up guy, no unmarried. So it is.
Yeah. That's nice. It's a little bow. Actually, I do like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Phew!
And we have reached the end.
We have reached the end, and so all that needs to be decided now is which one wins.
I'm going to be honest, I was very undecided. The whole way through. Definitely, with Sudden Eyes, we made a film.
We did.
I felt like we did something a little bit special there.
I agree 100%. I probably about when we got to the middle of this episode.
Yeah,
I
somewhere
think
in the middle, and the theme started coming out. Yeah.
It's nice that squeaky clean character in this very seedy world.
The other movie we made work. This one felt like there was more going on.
We did more justice to the beats of the original Snake Eyes in making this version.
Mm.
So I agree.
I think I'm going to vote for Snake Death.
Same
It's
here.
my win for this month.
2 thumbs up from us for Snake Death, which is a shame because Sudden Eyes has a much better title.
Oh, Sudden Eyes is a great title. It's a fantastic title. But no, Snake Death wins.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this week for the wrap-up for April. Hope you've been enjoying the lovely weather, in the UK anyway, where anywhere else in the world, I'm sure it's wonderful as well. And we now have to go back into torpor.
Oh, do we have to really? Isn't there something else we could do?
Well, funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
It is your go at Nosy Dicey.
You have cleaned those, right?
Yes. And on that note, see you next time.
Take care, everybody, and as always, TTFN. Bye-bye.
Ba 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 ba.